Hello and welcome to the Bottom Up Skills Podcast. I'm Mike Parsons, I'm the CEO of Qualitance, and today we are talking about what is the problem that our users have. So we're out there in the world of product management, whether we're creating a first-time product or making an existing problem or product better, we have to ask ourselves, what is the problem our users face? Now, the interesting thing here is this can change over time. And in terms of first generation products, I see a lot of people guessing what problem they're solving. So do not underestimate the need to ask this question, not only in product creation, but to continuously remind yourself, test and learn what problem you're really solving. Because too often I see people guessing. And if you're guessing the problem you're solving, well, if you think about it, everything else that comes downstream of the problem, i.e. the solution, the product features, the service, everything will be built on a guess. And chances are that's not going to be a great product. So let's visit this question. What really is the problem that our users face? And how do we frame that? Like, what's the checklist? Well, the good news is that Eric Ries and the Lean Startup team created a really powerful yet simple tool called the Value Proposition Canvas. And I can't tell you how useful this is. I've used it a lot of different times. And what it essentially does is it weighs up two things. What is our customer and what is our proposition? Said differently, what we do is we get into some real details that help us frame problem solution. Now, if we think about the world of the customer, they experience pains when they're trying to get things done in life. And they're also looking for some gains as well. So these pains and gains are all part of the jobs to be done. And if you can frame the jobs that your customer's trying to get done, the pains that they experience and the gains they're looking for, then you've really done a great job of framing the world of a customer. Now, what's really interesting here is that, this idea of a value proposition canvas, it's not a fixed object. In fact, it should be changing all the time. It should be very iterative. So it's a bit like your lean hypothesis that we mentioned in an earlier episode of this series, where we talk about the fact that as you test and learn, whether it's your hypothesis, your value prop canvas, or your business canvas, these things should be updating all of the time. So we're talking a lot about pains and gains and the jobs to be done of our customer. Let's just take an example. So Airbnb, what are the pains people experience? Well, if you think about it, people are not sure if the property that they're going to be a guest in, they're not sure of the quality of it. Will they be sharing a space with strangers? I mean, stranger danger is a huge problem for Airbnb. And then there's safety concerns. Those are the pains that you experience. Now, what are the gains that your customer is looking for if they're trying to, rent an Airbnb? Well, it's probably a bit cheaper than a hotel. Meet some interesting people, get local experience, something's a bit more flexible than a hotel, something that fits them better, so they've got lots of options. Those are some of the gains that they're looking for. And what you could do is frame those against these main jobs to be done, which is hassle-free and safe booking of accommodation when you're on a holiday, cheap accommodation, or if you are a host, making additional money by renting out one of your rooms. So this is what you actually put on your canvas. And this is a really good snapshot of the challenges and the mission that your customer's on. So let's remind ourselves of what it is. Jobs to be done. And those tend to be the bigger themes of the user. And then as the customer goes to achieve those jobs, to complete those jobs, they bump into all these blockers and barriers. Sometimes they might be very practical, or they might be sort of emotional, sort of like, stranger danger, for example, for Airbnb. So then the last thing is the gains. And these are sort of the benefits or the reasons why people are doing this job. And in the case of Airbnb, it's like have a great, authentic local experience, meet some interesting people, and lots of other reasons as well. But this is really good because when you play in this world, you're going to find that this will change and grow. And some of these will actually emerge as the big value drivers for your customer. So it could be primarily there is one job to be done, and there's just only a couple of really key pains and gains. And if you capture all of those, and by capture, I mean you do interviews, you do surveys, you actually do some research into emerging needs of users, consumers, market trends, industry trends. Like, we're not guessing here. Like this stuff really has to be validated by all sorts of forms of research. Then you've got like the perfect snapshot of the problems that your user faces, or their needs analysis, to which it is sometimes called as well. Now, this that I've described to you is the customer side of the proposition. What we're going to do in the next show is we're going to talk about the other side of this, which is really the proposition that comes from you as a product manager, as a product creator, a builder, a designer. We're going to get into how you answer that call. But what's really important here is that you accurately map these pains, gains, and jobs to be done. I deeply call upon you not to guess these. Go out, test and learn what are the problems that our users really face. And for example, if you're going to do a survey, minimum 100 people. If you're going to do user interviews, a minimum of 10 people. That's the bare minimum you need to have some certainty, because your sample size has been significant enough. If you want to put things beyond doubt, then, interview 30, 40, 50 people, and the patterns will become very clear in what they need. Likewise, if you do a survey, once you get up to 500 or 1,000, I mean, that's great for like a national product if you're going to launch it. And then you'll have this map of what customers need. And importantly, because you've put the hard work into that, the next step will be to map the other side, the proposition. And if you put equal work into that, then what you will get is what we call the problem solution fit. That means you have the problem that the customer faces and the solution that you propose. And what we call this is a value proposition canvas. Now, if you are interested in learning about the value proposition canvas, you should definitely check out our Lean Masterclass. It's totally free, and you can find that at bottomup.io. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Bottom Up Skills Podcast. That's a wrap.